my fellow readers. My name is Greg, and this is Ghost Readers in the Sky. Today I'm here with my weekly roundup for the second week of September 2025. And I'm going to start with the books that I finished this week. It is Sumerian September. This is an event put together by Michael K. Vaughan, and it's where we read the works of Robert E. Howard. And I read this whole volume, this Del Rey volume of Savage Tales of Solomon Kane. These are at least most, if not all, of the stories about Solomon Kane that were published in the pulps. There are some fragments, so this may be the entire collection of what Howard wrote for and about Solomon Kane. He is a wanderer who goes all around, in this book, Europe and Africa, and fights evil, which usually comes in a satanic or demonic form. And he's usually fighting by himself, although he does sometimes have some magical props with him. And occasionally he finds a friend to go along with him, but for the most part, it's just him out there alone, fighting evil. And there are some really, really good stories here. I'm going to start down a little side quest here, because I have to say, this book is a product of its time. But every book is a product of its time. Robert E. Howard was writing in the 20s and 30s, and he was writing about a character who lived in the 1700s. So there are some things that are not normal for us in 2025. Some of the ways he addresses race, some of the ways he addresses the roles of men and women, certainly the effect of Satan and demons, and the powers of good that are in the world. These all are different than what we normally experience or think about today. Some of it strikes us as odd, some of it strikes us as wrong. But there are some things to keep in mind. One, he was writing in a time when these things, whether we like it or not, were normal. They were common thoughts. And so one thing we can always do, especially when we read books that were written 100 years ago, is see, look how far we've come. Look how much progress we have made. So there is a big difference in how the world was perceived, how society and culture was perceived 100 years ago to how it is now. And 100 years from now, I suspect people reading books that were written in 2025 will say, how could they possibly have thought that? That is so offensive. I don't know what exactly it will be about. But there's something that we're doing that we think is normal, that in time will be seen as, no, that wasn't normal at all. So yes, this book is a product of its time, as is every book that has ever been written. Every story, every essay, every poem, everything that's ever been written is a product of its time. And that's a good thing, because we can say, look what's changed, look what's better. Oh, this thing that I don't like today was happening 100 years ago, and why haven't we fixed it yet? So that's my side quest. I'm going to say, treasure's been found. I have accomplished my tasks. And now back to our regularly traveled path. about the Savage Tales of Solomon Kane. I love this book. I love the stories. There are some incredible stories in here. The one about the cleft skull in that tavern in somewhere in Germany in the Black Forest. That's great. The story of finding the temple in Africa. There are so many great stories in here. Some of them are quite long and probably appeared in multiple issues of the pulps. Some of them are shorter, and like I said, there are a few fragments here that don't turn into complete stories, but are still interesting and shed some light on the character of Solomon Kane as Robert E. Howard was thinking of him. I think this book is worth reading. It's adventure stories. There's some magical and supernatural activities that happen, but for the most part, it's just a really, I think it's fair to say, hard-boiled character who is tough and who gets beat up sometimes and finds ways to recover and makes mistakes and finds ways to recover. I just loved all of it. There's also, almost every page has some small illustrations. So, if I can get that one in focus. Right, and there's another one down here. And you just see a lot of those, but there are on occasion some plates that take up the full page. And I got one right here. Yeah, here we go. This is one of the full page illustrations. Solomon Kane up on the stairs and going down to fight the pirates in the castle. Great picture, great story. It's a picture from a story called The Blue Flame of Vengeance, which is a really good one. These are all, I didn't find anything that really fell down in this book. All the stories were pretty solid. There were a few that really stood out, but they're just all good stories. Well written by a great pulp writer. And thank you, Michael K. Vaughan, for pushing us to continue to read the works of Robert E. Howard. So Solomon Kane, book number 1 that I read this week. Book number 2 that I read this week, 2 of 2, that I finished this week, is a graphic novel that I got when I went to the Boise Comic Arts Festival a couple of weeks ago. It is called The Suncatcher, or just Suncatcher. It's by Jose Pimienta, and I did get a very nice autograph from him, the guitar and everything else. He was going through the books that he had written that were there on his table, and he said, this one's about a haunted guitar, and I said, yes, please. This is it's about teenagers, older teenagers who are in a band, and so you see a lot of, and it's set in Mexicali, Mexico, which is right over the California border from Calexico, California. A border town that has quite a bit of music going on, and they're trying to break in and have a little bit different sound, not the norteño sound that most of the bands had. It's also set in late 90s, early 2000s. So, set a couple decades ago, written in 2018, I believe. Jose Pimienta does the story as well as all of the art, both the drawing and the inking and the coloring and the whole bit. I like the way he sets up his panels. Here's an example at the bottom of this page of those 4 panels that really are one scene, but broken up across multiple panels. He does that quite often, and I really like that. His lettering, he does the lettering as well, and that's quite good. He also does some full page. This was full page, but it's still sorted into 3 panels, but you can see how that all plays together. No dialogue on this page, just the artwork. Really beautiful. It's somewhat spoiler territory. It's toward the end of the book, and it's as the equipment is being de-haunted. I don't know if that's a word, but this is just a gorgeous 2-page spread. We get a couple of those as well. So really nice art, really fun to look at, a really nice color palette. And I really enjoyed both reading it and really absorbing the art. It's the story of Beatrix. She's in a band, she's a guitar player. She's in a band and then meets other people. They form a new band, and some of those people are playing in other bands. And then they find somebody who will help them record. And in the meantime, Beatrix has found this haunted guitar. And it turns out, spoilers here, but it's an important part of the story, so I'm going to say it anyway. Feel free to do whatever it is you need to do to not be spoiled, okay? Okay. She finds out that this guitar has the soul of her grandfather in it. He was a musician who was trying to write a great song, and when he did not get it accomplished, his soul was put into the guitar that he played, and his soul can only be released when that song is finished. So that's what Beatrix is trying to do. She finds some other haunted equipment with other souls trapped in it, and she's trying to find this perfect song. And so that's part of what we see through the pages of the story. It also turns out this is an instrumental that is just written for one electric guitar. So a lot of her bandmates are upset that she wants to do this song that's just hers and doesn't have any vocals, doesn't have any drums or bass or anything else. So she's got that conflict with her bandmates as she's trying to save her grandfather. And it's just really, really well done. It really drills into the musical culture of Mexicali about 25 years ago. It drills into a lot of that teenage looking for what do I want to do, who do I want to be, and how do I want to make a mark in the world. And the story just circles around. It's just a beautiful ending, and not the ending I expected. So Jose Pimienta, Suncatcher. So what am I reading right now? For October, the event put together by James over at Quaint and Curious Volumes. It is October, an event where we are to read books about octopuses and also perhaps, if one feels like it, squids, other cephalopods. And I went into the metaphorical world, and I am reading The Octopus by Frank Norris, which is is it a Western? I think you could call it a Western. It was written in 1901, and the octopus is a metaphor for the railroad. that has sunk its tentacles into every part of Central California. It impacts the farmers, the ranchers, the townspeople. It impacts everything. And so this is a fight between the regular people and a big corporation. Really great. I read this years ago, and I'm enjoying this time around. I'm about 2/3 of the way through. Where do I have it? Yeah, there's the ribbon bookmark. Somewhere around 2/3, 3/4, maybe 3/4. I don't know. Whatever I am, I'm making some great progress in it. It is a fairly long book, or at least long for me. This edition is 448 pages. The other book that is in progress that I just got started on is another graphic novel. This is part of the Sixth Gun series. Sixth Gun was created by Brian Hurt and Cullen Bunn. But one of the reasons I have this one is that one of the artists is Tyler Crook, and he was also at the Boise Comic Arts Festival. The Sixth Gun is a great series about enchanted guns in the Old West that I think you'd categorize it as Weird West. It's a series that I really enjoyed, and I'm enjoying it again. And now I've met one of the artists, which is pretty cool. So that's the other book that I have in progress right now. Every Thursday for Poetry Thursday, I read a cowboy poem, and this one from this past Thursday was by Elizabeth Ebert. It's called Rich Man's Lady, and I found it in this compilation put together by the people at the Western Folklife Center in Elko, Nevada. They are the hosts of the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering. This is a nice anthology that if you're looking for cowboy poetry, this is a great place to start. Here are Elizabeth Ebert's poems, and you can see there's a photograph of her and a short biography, some number of poems, 3 I think. So now we're into the What's Next portion. And for the rest of September, I think I'm going to be diving into Shorty September. So reading novellas, short novels, and a lot of short stories. I'm going to start with the novella, The War of the Worlds. I have this really great compilation of H.G. Wells stories. These are all as they were presented originally in the pulps. It is just copies of what the pulps printed, and it's really enjoyable. I'm going to read The War of the Worlds, and that's what's up next. And then after that, more short stories and novellas, and I got a pretty good list. We'll use that to fill up September, Shorty September. And that's it. That's the roundup for the second week of September 2025. My name is Greg, and this is Ghost Readers in the Sky.